Okay, what we're going to do today is addition and subtraction of algebraical fractions. The objective is to solve algebraical fractions, and we're going to start basically with an example in the way that we usually solve a fraction. If I have 3/7 plus 2/3. When we solve this type of fractions, we usually look for the least common multiple of 7 and 3. Since 7 and 3 are prime numbers, we multiply them. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to multiply our two denominators that are 7 times 3. And we're going to keep it this way, because with this way we will work in an algebraical fraction, in an algebraical way, when we start working with algebraical expression. And now what we do here is that these two numbers, we divide them by the number that we have in the first fraction. So it's going to be 7 times 3 divided by 7. I cancel the 7 and I'm going to have a 3. These 3, I'm going to multiply times my numerator of my first fraction. So it's going to be 3 times 3. I put the same sign that I have. I'm going to place it here. And now I do exactly the same thing with the other part of my fraction. It's going to be 7 times 3. And I simplify the 3 and it's going to be 7. So I will multiply the 7 times the numerator of the second fraction. And I'm going to have that this is going to be 9 plus 14 divided by 21. So this is going to be 23/21. It's an improper fraction, but right now we're going to keep it that way because what we want to base this is on algebraical fractions. So let's start with the examples of algebraical fractions. If I have a fraction like this, I have my variables on the denominator in this case. So I'm going to play exactly the same way we did here. We are going to treat our variables as if they were numbers. So it's going to be x times y. And now I'm going to do exactly the same thing I did with normal fractions. So I'm going to divide x times y divided by x. I cancel my x and I'm going to have y. So I have to multiply y times 2. I place the same sign, that it's a positive sign. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the second fraction, that it's going to be x times y. And I'm going to divide it by y. I cancel my y and I'm going to have x. So it's going to be x times 3. Now, knowing this, I know that here I have a multiplication and I'm going to spell it. Even though it's correct to say y times 2, it's better to say 2y's plus 3x divided by x times y. And this, it's my answer because y and x are total different variables and you cannot add them between them. Now, this is when we're going to work with a simple algebraical expression or algebraical fractions. Now, when we're going to work with a little bit more, with a little bit more difficult fraction, is if I have something like this. If you see, in these fractions, we have variables in the numerator and in the denominator. And in my numerator, I have a binomial that in the last video we discussed that it's one number. So this is one number, and this is another number. So let's start working with this. The first thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to find my least common multiple. In this case, since they are exactly the same, it's going to be the same one. And it's, if you see, they are the same, so it's just we have to add and subtract what we have in the denominator. So it's going to be x plus 2y, I'm going to put it in a parenthesis, minus 5x plus 4y. Now, knowing this, I'm going to take my parentheses, but I have a little problem here. I have a negative sign. So I have to multiply my negative sign by each of the sign of my binomial term. So it's going to be x plus 2y minus, and positive, it's negative, so it's going to be minus 5x. Negative and positive, it's negative, so it's going to be 4y divided by 6x up to the cube. Now, knowing this, I'm going to start working this, and I'm going to subtract my x with my x. So I have 1x minus 5x. It's going to be negative 4x. And I do exactly the same with my y's. It's going to be 2y minus 4y. It's going to be negative 2y. And it's going to be divided by 6x cubed. Now, if I see here I have something special, I have a common factor in each one of them. My common factor is 2 because the 2 divides the 4 and the 2. So it's going to be 2 and it's going to be negative 2x minus y. All these divided by 6x to the cube. So I could simplify the 2 with the 6. This becomes 1 and this becomes 3. So my final answer is going to be negative 2x minus y divided by 3x to the cube. And that's our answer for this type of algebraical expression or algebraical fractions. Now, if I'm going to work another example, where I'm going to have 4a as the numerator and a plus 3 as the denominator, and I'm going to subtract that from 4a divided by a plus 6. If we see here, we have different denominators. We have a plus 3, that is one number, and a plus 6, that is another number. So we're going to apply the same way that we work here. It's going to be a plus 3 times a plus 6. And we're going to do exactly the same. We're going to start simplifying. It's going to be a plus 3 times a plus 6 divided by a plus 3. So I cancel my a plus 3 with my a plus 3, and I'm going to have a plus 6 that I'm going to multiply it times the numerator of the first fraction, that is going to be 4a. I place the same sign that I have in my operation, that it's going to be negative. So I'm going to subtract, and now I do exactly the same. A plus 3 times a plus 6, all these divided by a plus 6. So I cancel the a plus 6 and the a plus 6, and I'm going to have a plus 3. And then I multiply it times the numerator of my second fraction. Now, having this, I have to work the multiplications that I have here. How do I work with that? I'm going to start multiplying 4a times a, and then 4a times 6. So let's do that. In this case, it's going to be 4a times a. It's going to be 4a to the square, because we have to add the exponent. 1 plus 1, it's 2, so it's a square. Plus 4a times 6, it's going to be 24a. I place this in a parenthesis, and now I'm going to subtract this, and I'm going to do exactly the same with this. 4a times a, it's going to be 4a squared, and 4a times 3 is going to be 12a. And I'm going to divide it by a plus 3 times a plus 6. Now what I'm going to do here is that I'm going to take my parentheses. This is a negative, so I have to multiply my negative sign by the sign of each of the part of my binomial. So I'm going to write 4a to the square plus 24a. Negative and positive, it's negative 4a squared, and negative and positive, it's negative 12a. Now, I'm going to add and subtract the ones that are exactly the same. A to the square with negative a to the square. And 4a to the square minus 4a to the square is 0. And now I'm going to do exactly the same with positive 24a and negative 12a. And that's going to be 12a. And my denominator, in this case, it's going to be a plus 3 times a plus 6. Now, this is our answer for our problem. I hope this helped you for the practice, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.